Yeah, Moses, thank you, thank you, thank you. Moses, thank you for joining. Celebrate the family meeting. We're going to be celebrating our fifth year in January 2026. It's been a lot of work, it's been a lot of investment. And like I said, we do this for free. In fact, for the first time last week, Prince Powell was on the call and he had to say that, see, we do this and we give quality information, right? We bring professionals, practitioners who are trained to treat different topics. And we've been getting a lot of feedback, like healing has been taking place, people calling to seek for counsel and all that. And this, I'm saying all this so that you will know what we are doing at the Center for Sex Education and what the family meeting stands for. But this month, this is the October edition of the family meeting. We are joining the rest of the world to celebrate the International Day of the Girl Child. And the global theme for the year 2025 is The Girl I Am, The Change I Lead, Girls on the Front Lines of Crisis. And last week, Saturday, was the main day for the International Day of the Girl Child. I would like the admin to drop the link in the chat session. I had a conversation, a beautiful and interesting conversation with a group of girls just to feel the pulse because it's actually their own month, right? And these girls opened up, they said a lot of things, what they expected us to do. And that brings me to the explanation of the girls on the front lines of crisis. Because when we see that, we just think, oh, girls that are being there, that are in IDP camps, or girls in Boko Haram place, or girls in Gaza, or girls in Israel. But really, yeah, we are considering those girls who are truly in front lines of war. But really, a lot of our girls are also in the front line of crisis. Tonight, we want to bring the global conversation to your home, to your sitting room, and to say that some of our girls are on the front lines of broken homes, body shaming, low self-esteem, peer pressure, and maybe abuse. And for us at the Center for Sex Education and Family Life, part of the things we do is to go to schools to educate children on to do sex education, to give them sex education. We go to schools, we go to communities to reach out to these children, and we hear a lot of things. In fact, recently, um, off the record now, there's a particular client who sat there with, she was raped, and so she couldn't hold herself. She's 19, she cannot hold herself anymore. Now she was telling me 2 weeks ago that now she the pleasure, what she feels now is to have sex with the same sex. And I'm like, where have we found ourselves again? Ibola tún já sí báyìí. Do you get? So a lot is happening to these girls. And I thought instead of bringing the girls here, we heard them, we listened to them. Yeah, admin has dropped the link to the Instagram. Please go and watch. You need to hear them. Like I said during that meeting, these girls represent the girls in our homes. So let's feel the pulse. Let's hear what they have to say. Let's hear what they are going through, right? Let's hear what they are going through. So we're going to be talking. So I thought instead of bringing the girls here, hey, let's talk to ourselves. Because the truth of the matter is some of us have gone through this. And that's why some of us are saying, oh, my daughter, my children will not suffer the same way I suffer. My children will not experience what I experience and all that. But maybe some of us are not doing it correctly. Maybe some of us don't have the right tools to bring up our children and to help our children. And probably that's why we have some of our girls who are hurting, who feel ashamed, who are traumatized. Um, and maybe some of us are not even healed from the experiences of life we went through. And so we don't even know how to handle some of the conversations with our children. And that's why we are here. So tonight, joining me on this show are incredible women who wear many hats, mothers, professionals, mentors, nurturers. They wear many hats. And trust me, we took care, like in picking these people, because we want people that will come here and speak to us. Like I told them, this is unscripted. So we want them to speak from their soul to the parents, to the children, because I know that there are some girls on the call, to the children, to the parents, to the women and the fathers on this call. So with me, I have Aima. Aima is going to pronounce her name because I don't want to massacre it. So admin, I want you to spotlight Aima. I want you to spotlight Aima. Aima Nohi Egbelaki. Aima is from Aima is from Edo State and she's married to Yoruba. So Aima is going to tell us about herself. I'm going to allow her to do that when after I introduce the second speaker, my second guest. The second guest is Coach Moore. Moore is also going to pronounce her name so that I don't massacre. So admin, could you please spotlight? Thank you. Thank you very much. And they're pretty. See their beautiful faces.
Hello.
Hi, Paul. Hi, Aima. Thank you for joining. Aima is joining from the US and more in Lagos. Okay, so there's a feedback I'm hearing. I don't know. Admin, do you want to please attend to that? So thank you very much, Aima. So without wasting much time, we're going to go on into the conversation for the month. So we are celebrating the International Day of the Girl Child, and the theme for the year is the girl I am, the change I lead, girls on the front lines of crisis. Aima, do you want to introduce yourself? Just tell us briefly about you, and Mo will also pick that. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you so very much, Dr. Ebon, for having me. My name is Aima Nohi Egbelaki. Everyone calls me Aima, and that's okay. I am a licensed psychotherapist. I currently live in Iowa, the United States, and that's where I have my roots for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aima Nohi, for
It's okay,
joining.
just call me Aima so you don't.
Aima. Yeah, thank you very much, Aima. Okay, over to you, Coach Mo.
Hello, everyone. My name is Emobo Ochojila. Emobo is actually a short name for a longer name. Where I'm from, usually our names are usually very long. So usually called Coach Mo. I'm an adolescent / teenage coach. And that's just one of the hats that I wear.
Yeah, like I said, they all wear many hats. So thank you very much, Coach Mo, for joining, and thank you for joining in a very short notice. Both of you, you picked it up very short notice. So, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much, everyone. And so we go on into, so if you have not, for those of us that have not introduced, you have not mentioned where you're joining in from, would like to see that. Yeah, I want to know where you're joining in from, everyone, so that I can greet you well. I appreciate it when we call for the family meeting and people come out to join. So thank you very much. Where are you joining in from? Adebusola Miss joining from Texas. Flo Royale from the UK. Ogugbenro from Abuja. Joanne from Lokoja. Oreoluwa from Benin City. Thank you very much. Oiza from Kwara State. Wow, thank you for joining. So we have UK, we have Ibadan, we have Georgia, we have Ireland, New York. Oh, wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. This is such an interesting and important conversation that we're going to be having, especially if you have girls in your houses. It's very important we talk about it. You know, on Saturday, when I had the meeting, when I had the girls on the call, two of them were 13, two of them are 13 and a 19-year-old girl. And one of them, when I asked that, so what are the things you go through? Please, I need you guys to go and watch that video because you will hear what they are saying and you will understand why your children at home behave the way they behave, right? And one of them said, so I asked a question about being pushed away, being shut up. And one of them said, yeah, it's really very painful when you have something to say or you're talking to an adult and the person said, oh, you'll be okay, like pushing you away. The girl said, if you don't know, you're pushing us away. And gradually we are telling ourselves, if I tell her or if I tell him, he won't really respond. So what's the point? Let me just keep it to myself. And she said something. She said, and it keeps building up. And it keeps building up, you see. So these are the things. And I was just being realistic on that call. And I said, Kai, I feel so attacked because these are things we do unconsciously, right? You just really, what's wrong with you? Hey, your teacher said something about you and you see it as a big deal. And she said, it's a big deal to us, but you need to pay attention. But excuse me, how do we do that when we are even battling and dealing with our own? Right? And this is why we are having this conversation. So I want Aima, okay, let me start with Coach Mo. Can you share one experience from your childhood that shaped the woman you are today, positively or negatively? Let's start with that. If you have an experience to share that shaped the woman that you are today. You're muted.
Okay, thank you. I am first of all going to say that I am coming in from Abuja, not Lagos, just to clarify
really?
that.
Oh, really? Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Thank you.
let's talk about what has shaped me as a woman. A lot of things have, some negative and some positive, but I'm going to stick to the positive this evening. And I'm going to talk about the fact that I saw my father raise us without any sense of discrimination in terms of education. So whether you were a girl or a boy, you were expected to thrive in your educational pursuit. You were treated the same way, put on the same platform. So I believe that helped me see life differently. It made me see that I could become what I wanted to be, no matter what my gender was. So that's something that, as I grew older, I found that very something to be to be proud of in terms of what my father did. Yes.
All right. So I love that. I love that perspective which you came in from, like saying that if we're going to have children, because I see a lot of, especially with the United Nations, the gender equality, gender inequality drive and all that. And a lot of times I ask questions like, so who is stopping us from thriving? Who is stopping the women from doing what they're supposed to do? Now you're telling us that the conditioning is also very important because the way you were brought up gives you the confidence to come out to talk without being conscious of, oh, maybe they will shut me, oh, maybe they will say because I'm a woman and all that. And thank you very much for that. I love that angle with which you came in from to say that some of us are here. Please, can we stop? Like I tell them when we go for NGO meetings, can we stop this gender equality thing? Because somehow I believe that nobody is really stopping us from thriving. Nobody. Okonjo Iweala, is an example. Ibukwai Awoshika is an example. Can we start living our lives and stop looking for excuses? Maybe somebody in the house is saying, oh, there are some organizations, they deprive them, they deprive women and all that. We're still going to come to that, because I also believe that there is a way. I've listened to Ibukwai Awoshika shared her story a lot of time, and she'll tell us how that by the time they see that you're sharing intelligently in the room, they will listen to you. They know that this person has something to say. So we'll come back to that. But thank you very much for sharing that experience of your parent. You said your father, you didn't say anything about your mom. Wasn't your mom there?
Of course, my mom was there, so they both were on the same page when it came to that aspect of my life.
Are you sure you're not Daddy's girl? Okay, Aiva.
Ah!
Aiva, you want to say something about so you want to share one experience, your experience growing up that has shaped the woman that you are today.
Okay, my one experience is actually an experience that's kind of so I'd like you to think of a cobweb. It's one experience that kind of just fanned into maybe various, other aspects of my life. So I grew up as the first child in a polygamous family. So what that means is there was me, there was, I have other siblings, and of course I have stepmoms, not even a stepmom. And so I was the child that grew up very quickly. And I had major roles even as a child. I was caretaker, mediator. Sometimes I was the judge. Sometimes I was the referee. And in that pack, there were a lot of things that happened. There was domestic violence. There was emotional violence. There were just a lot. And even like right from, I would say like in vitro, like even when I was in the womb, there was all of that as well. When I think about myself, I look at myself pretty much like a survivor, because even from the womb, I had to survive. I was born when I was 7.5 months old to very poor parents. So there was poverty and there was that. Growing up, I was sexually molested at age 7. And between ages 13 and I think maybe 17, 18, I'd had 3 near rape experiences. First one was by a very close friend and someone I considered a mentor and a big sister. Second one was by a very close family friend. And the first one was organized by someone, very close. Second one was by a very close family friend. Third one would have been by an area boy. But like I said, they are near rape experiences. So I'm grateful to God that all of that did not get added to my plate. So pretty much that's how I grew up. And I think, I'm not sure how deeply you want us to go into that, but basically that's it. And it kind of shaped me. So I would say that my story is a mix of pain that has now turned into purpose for me, because that's one of the reasons why I do this. And of course, getting married, I was the child who grew up and never wanted to get married. But at some point I dealt with it and I said, okay, I can just have kids and not get married. And then I got married. My expectations were totally wild and all of that. And that's why I do one of the things that I do today. So I see adolescents, I see parents, and I see women also who have walked in some of these shoes, some openly, some very covertly. And yeah, that's it in a nutshell. And I feel like this is actually the first time that I'm saying some of the things that I've said here. So yeah, I think that signifies growth and healing as well.
Yeah, that signifies growth and healing. That signifies growth and healing. Thank you very much, Aima and Mo, for being so vulnerable to share this part. And thank you, Aima, because you said something very sensitive. This is the first time you're sharing some of the things. And I appreciate the fact that you're doing it here. And you asked the question when you were talking, you said you don't know to what extent or what depth you want us to, as much as deep as you can share, because this is family. And the essence of this is to help people know that you're not alone. You know, when we talk about group counseling, it helps you know that you're not the only one that has gone through something. And so it's not something we should be shameful about. When you face the shame, you talk about the shame, you have shamed the shame.
Yeah.
Really. And being vulnerable is strength. And this is what this family meeting, this is what family meeting, one of the things family meeting stands for. Because when you share your story, somebody is listening and saying, oh, I'm not the only one. Oh, and somehow some people are getting healed in saying that. And for those of us in the audience that are listening, I'm sure some of us went through some beautiful, painful experiences of life that has formed who you are today, that has made up your mind to live your life the way you are living your life. And maybe some of you are still angry, some of you are still not forgiven. This is an opportunity for you to know that, yeah, things happened. And Ima said something. She said she has turned her pain into purpose. And that is why she is doing what she is doing. And you never can tell. Whatever it is you're going through is for a purpose. And I always say this, that our experiences are tools in our hands to help other people. We are here to talk about our girls. How do we raise our girls? We have gone through our own experiences. There's a tendency that some of us are still stuck in our past, and it is affecting our relationship. One of the things that one of the girls said last week Saturday, I think it was Davina Eleshin, said, hey, parents, you project your fears on us. You project your pain on us. Can you stop it? Can you stop making us feel afraid? Can you give us the tools to navigate life instead of projecting your fear? You know, and that hit it. And I would really love that you guys go and watch the recording of that interview, of that panel session with those girls. So Ima, because you work with people in this sphere, I would like to ask that when you look at the girls around you and the way they carry themselves, the content they consume, and the pressure they face, I always tell parents that, see, when we were growing up, we grew on the street. In fact, you might get to Shola's house. That's where everybody will have lunch. No control, we just go, we move around. You will escort your friend to their house, they will escort you back, all those things. But these children don't have that opportunity. The social media is their playground. Either you agree or not, the social media is their playground. And so they face a lot of pressure. So what stands out to you when you look at all these girls and you see what they're going through, the experiences they're having? What stands out to you?
Thank you. I think what stands out to me when dealing with girls, or just looking at girls generally these days, is the loss of identity, the identity crisis that a lot of our girls have to deal with. A lot do not even know who they are. And of course, if you do not know who you are as a child or as a teenager, it's shocking also to know that there are a lot of women, mothers, who also do not know who they are. So if you allow me to play it back that way, I feel like this is it's a more serious crisis than we actually think it is, because we have first women, moms, caregivers, aunties who do not know where they are. And of course, it comes back here to kind of spread to our girls. With social media, there's just a lot. And what I tell my girls when I talk to them, or maybe even women generally, is, why do you feel the need to compare your everyday life with the highlights of someone's reels. That's just, a few minutes. And you know how it is. There's the glam and there the lights, and everybody, comes together, depending on how, tech savvy you are, whatever. Your photo or your social media footprints can actually be nicer looking and better than mine. But we forget that, number one, you're not that person. Number two, your paths in life are different. But to come back to your question and to keep it short, the loss of identity and just the confusion surrounding identity, I think is one of the biggest things that we have to deal with now.
I love what you said about this, the comparison on the social media, because a lot of us don't know that that's what we do. It's an unconscious thing. Do you want to speak to that, Ima? It's an unconscious thing that we do.
Yeah, you're right about it being unconscious, and the way that some people even just sit with it is quite alarming. So, and it's in different ways, in different areas, marriage, just everyday, relationships, and even just from even the way we dress, the way we show up and all of that, right? We want to compare ourselves to the one who's fab, and we're wearing this thing and it's like, who wore it better? Like, you just want to keep comparing yourself. And one of the things that I always think about and I always say is, when you compare, we've all heard this saying, comparison is the thief of joy. Now it sounds like a cliche. And it's pretty much like, sometimes even in my sessions, I'm like, comparison. They're like, yeah, I know. Comparison is a thief of joy. And I'm like, that's not even what I'm about to say. Let's spin it in a different direction. When you compare yourself so much with other people, one, these are people you do not even know. I've met a lot of people. I think in the year 2022, I had an aha moment, because interestingly, I feel like that was the year that I started meeting most people that I knew online. And to be honest with you, I was shocked. Like, oh, wait, so this is the you that I see online. You're always so fabulous, so well put together. And even your grammar, even the way you speak, everything, like the way you write on social, it's so different from when you actually see the people. So I think, but it's an unconscious thing, but that's also telling you, like, maybe how much time we spend online, right? And how much of our emotions that we dedicate to the things on there, not knowing that it's just an offshoot of our culture and maybe our society today, where everything is fast-paced, right?
Okay. I think Aima is frozen.
Gratification doesn't make it better.
Thank you very much, Aima. We lost you towards the end of what you were saying, like a few seconds. But thank you very much for what you have said. It's really I really don't know what to say about it, because it's getting worse, right? With these AI, the filters and all that now, it's really it's getting worse. Like, people are no longer authentic, and it's a lot of problems, because this is what our children are seeing. They see you at home, they see what you do outside, and you're getting them so confused.
Right.
And they are also lost. They're lost in between, to be like, okay, is this what we're supposed to do when we are outside? But in the room, we can pull, we can fart on ourselves and all that, all those things, they are just so artificial. And what we don't know is we get them confused. The home is supposed to be the place where they know the real truth. And we're going to come to that. My question will be to Mo is, do you think today's girls are emotionally stronger or more vulnerable than we were at our age?
I'm going to start with the theme of the International Day of the Girl Child, and I'm also going to piggyback on what Aima had said previously. So the theme is actually the girl I am, the change I lead, girls on the front line of crisis. And when Ima was talking, what came to my mind was that we have a crisis of an information overload right now. And because now they get information almost at the speed of light. And that can affect the brain of the adolescent. The adolescent is still trying to find themselves at this point. Yeah. And at this time, they're going through brain pruning. The time where they say, I want this part to come in and this part to be trashed. Their prefrontal cortex is still being developed. And yes, an information overload can affect that growth path. It can affect the path where the brain is being pruned to the point where they get to their identity. Authenticity, like you said, is being lost now because you have information coming at you almost at the speed of light. So it's important to know that once you have so much coming at you, and as a child, as a girl or young girl who's still trying to find herself, today she hears that it's good to be fat. Tomorrow she hears, no, it's better to be skinny. Next tomorrow she hears, it's better to have a pointy nose. And then the next day she hears, it's better to have afro hair. And then she becomes confused about who she is because she begins to act out every single thing she's hearing. So yes, it affects the emotional state of the adolescent because it brings them to a point where they are not emotionally stable or emotionally aware. There are situations where you want to, because you have, right now, we're in the world where the digital space is the one leading the information that we receive, whether good or bad. And we have information coming out at us, even as parents, really fast. It becomes overwhelming for the adolescents. So yes, I would say it's emotionally, they're more emotionally vulnerable now than before.
Thank you very much, Mo, because you have said it that we didn't have all this noise. We didn't have all this information. There was no information overload. If they are telling you respect, they will teach respect throughout until another thing comes up, and they will teach that also. But now they are faced with a lot of information being thrown at them in the split of seconds, and there is a limit to what the brain can process. I hear you talk about the prefrontal cortex, and I want us to really talk about that prefrontal cortex, where that some parents don't even understand this. And so the prefrontal cortex is not mature, it's not fully mature, developed. And that's a part of the brain that stores logical reasoning. And it is not fully developed until the age of 25. And so there are some information, there are some things you're telling them at the age of 16 that you expect them to understand and to pick. All these domestic crises we have, all the little arguments, the little disagreements in the home, you expect them to reason. Talking to myself now, I know I will always tell my daughter, think. Like, can't you think? Like, can't you see this is the way it's supposed to be? This prefrontal cortex is not as developed as our own, so they can't think. And that is why we are there to help them channel this information, to help them handle all this information well. But more, in a situation where, like I illustrated now, the parents don't even understand all this. So I want you to talk to parents, because I know there are instances where a child is saying, I don't want to wear that clothes, and mommy is insisting that that's what I want you to wear. And mommy is being forceful about it, especially the girls. And she's like, why are you making it about yourself? You know what these girls will say? you can't say that to your own parent when you were growing up, but they will be like, so why are you making it about yourself? This is me, it's my body, that kind of a thing. So, and these things caused a lot of disagreement in the home, especially with the girls. How do you want us to handle it? What do you think we should do about it? Understanding the aspect of the prefrontal cortex.
Okay, first, as a parent too of adolescents and a girl adolescent, I will tell you that I also understand what parents go through. So I empathize with you parents as well, and but at the same time, we need to create a safe place where a girl receives emotional support, especially emotional support. Nowadays, they can look for emotional support anywhere, online, everywhere. Now they can even go onto ChatGPT and ask for whatever they need, whatever emotional support they need. But they need to be able to find home or find you a safe place to come to whenever in whatever situation they feel. They need to be vulnerable before you. They need to find that I can come back to mommy, I can come back to daddy, even when I fail. Now, are we saying we should not discipline our children? The prefrontal cortex actually needs discipline. Because that is the part where like you said, the reasoning takes place, logic, that's where choices begin to be made. And if they do not have discipline, and now I'm going to define discipline. Discipline is not necessarily punishment. Discipline is helping the child understand who they are and guiding them, providing the emotional support to ensure that they get to the point where they need to get to. I'm so passionate about adolescents getting to understand their leadership path early. And it takes the support of the parents as well to help them discover the leadership path. Having too many choices and not being able to lead accordingly with the prefrontal cortex leading you properly would be a major crisis in the life of the girl child. You would find, for example, most of the time we talk about, society is not really, forgive me to say, the society is not really partial to the girl child. Yes, it's not, you do not have too many, many societies that have empathy for the girl child. So you would see that the girl child is basically just being prepared for marriage, or mostly being prepared for marriage. So all she's thinking about is how I'm going to get into marriage and have children. But what about the person of the girl child? There is nothing wrong in marriage, but I think parents should begin to flip the coin with the girl child and begin to look at the authenticity of that girl child. That will help the child. That will help the parent begin to see the child as they should be seen and provide the support that the child needs. Once the child does not know who they are, once the parent does not know who the child is, then the crisis has started with the girl child. Because she begins to compare herself with other people, knowing that she doesn't have the support of her parents to be who she really is.
Wow. I love that last note. So we contribute to this identity crisis thing with our children because they don't know, they depend on us to guide them, and that's who we are, nurturer. That's who we are as parents, guidance, to lead them. And there's a need for us to understand that. And I love the fact that you understand how parents also feel. It's a lot on them. So will you say that parents need to work on themselves also, regardless of their ages? Do you want to find yourself? Because deep down, we all know that there are some things missing in our upbringing.
Yeah, I would like to say something on that.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Ima, graciously told us about the things she went through in life. And I started by telling you that there are some positive and negative things. Every girl will go through that path. Yeah. I don't want to mention my negative parts, but I would just mention just one thing. I lost my mom. I don't want to say it as negative anymore. I lost my mom when I was like 13-year-old. Yeah. So I understand having to take up space early, space that you're not ready for. Yeah, early. And even if you were not asked to take up that space, just because you are the first child, yes, I'm like you, I'm the first, I'm the first girl, you know, you just naturally feel like you should take up space. So you begin to more or less lose your own childhood. And when you begin to lose it, you may not find yourself, your authentic self, because you think you are there, you are meant to be something to other people, and then you are not finding in that process, you're not finding who you really are. Yeah. So as parents, as I grew older, I'm going to use myself as a parent. I began to learn and relearn, unlearn, relearn, unlearn, and relearn. So it's a process. So parents need to forgive themselves, yeah, and get to the path of unlearning and relearning, unlearning and relearning, unlearning and relearning. Let me tell you, your teenager is a new person. It's no longer a toddler. That phase is a new phase. So you need to unlearn and then relearn what you need to help that child. And then secondly, we need to heal from the things that hold us back. Every day comes with its own challenges, especially with parenting. Yeah, I always tell people that parents also need healing, you know, parents also need to heal. And then once you're healed, you're able to parent properly. You're able to carry your girl child along with you through any crisis and help them thrive in it and help them lead in it.
Once you're healed, you're able to carry yourself, at the same time carry your children and maybe your girl child gracefully, helping them see. Mo had said a lot of things in the last few minutes, and she said things about parents healing, talking about the position of it, sometimes the first child, the first child, and it doesn't have to, I don't think it has to be the first born child. Now we have the place of maybe the firstborn girl. We put that pressure on them unconsciously. And Aima, I want you to talk about that, the mistakes we make as parents. And when you're talking about that, I want you to also talk about the psychosocial support that our girls need. So the mistake we make as parents, we are not judging, we are not condemning you. We're just saying that, oh yeah, you probably got it from the way you were also raised. But we all know that there's something wrong with the way we were raised, and we can't afford to use the same curriculum for our children. So do you want to talk around that, the mistake we make as parents in raising some of our children, raising our children generally, most especially the girl child, because they now become the victim in the future, and the psychosocial supports.
Okay. So I think I'll start by saying that two things. I think in talking about, all of this, I'm glad that we've finally come to an age where we can have what I call tough conversations, right? And where we can, one, talk about, deep things that are not things that you would maybe talk about on and with everybody on the streets every day. But I think there's a need for us to kind of be careful about categorizing them in boxes just as good and bad. because I always say that between good and bad, there are a lot of parameters in here. There's context, there's culture, there's environment, there's knowledge, a lot of things in there that could easily make us just look at things from the prism that, okay, this thing is bad. Then the other background I'd like to lay here also is in talking about this, especially maybe for like our generation and our parents' generation, the motive here is not to vilify, our parents. It's just like Dr. Eben said, we're coming to the point of awareness now where we can now say, okay, we get it. When you did this, this was how it was perceived, and now we know. A good number of us parents now in 2025 know that we cannot, you see some of those things that our parents did with us, you cannot do like a quarter of it. For starters, somebody has a phone somewhere to either record or to, record maybe the voice or video or something, and you just never know. So when it comes to talking about these mistakes, we're talking about it just to increase awareness, both our own self-awareness and awareness generally, and then to help us identify some of those gaps and what we can do, because now we know better. That's one advantage that I feel like we have over our parents. We have more knowledge than they do. They did what they knew to do with the amount of information and the level of exposure that they had back then. So I always say that if for us in this generation, if we repeat the same mistakes that our parents made, then I think we qualify to say we have failed and will fail our children. And I hope that we do not have such testimonies. So coming to the mistakes, I think the biggest thing is, I think the biggest psychosocial thing that I can think of when thinking about all of this and just having these conversations is emotional and mental states of our girls. We need to, more than ever before, pay attention to the mental and emotional states of our girls. And what would that mean, or what would that look like in our homes every day? And not even just in our homes, in our communities and where our girl children show up. It would mean first an awareness that these things exist. And it will start with just the basic awareness that this girl, no matter how young we think she is, 6, 7, 8, 2, is a human being. Dr. Ebo, are you still there? Okay. She is a human being. She's a human being. If we can start from there, then we can start to layer on things like empathy. What I'm going to say to this child, if someone did it to me, how would I feel? Compassion, then we can bring that in to say, oh, you know what? This thing, I have feelings really hurt. Or is she just, and just like Dr. Ibn said, we're very quick to be dismissive of the feelings. So your friend said that to you, and so what? Dust it off and we shake it off. What we do not understand is that for the number of times, for every time that our children have to dust things off and shake it off and chest it and be strong, there's something that's building in there, and that's resentment. So just understanding that and coming from that place, that this child is a human being. I think also coming from our culture, the Nigerian culture, where we defer to authority. Authority could be somebody older than you, someone who has more than you, or in whatever sphere or ramification, they are more than you. Then it's also harder, because then the possibility of being dismissed is higher. Will you shut up? Am I your mate? Will you shut up? I couldn't talk to my mother like that. Will you shut up? And stuff like that. But so, and all of that will play into building the identity of that child. I'll give you an example. Is it okay to share personal examples, please? Okay.
Yes, please.
I have a 7-year-old daughter. Some of my people on the call, they know this person I'm talking about. My 7-year-old daughter. One day she was talking to her dad, and her dad was, He was talking and then he was just walking. He was talking, going. She was talking to him and he was just walking down the hallway. The next thing she said, no, 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 no. These are her exact words. She said, no, 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 no. You don't get to walk away from me while I'm talking to you. My initial reaction, even as her mother, was shock. I was like, who's talking? And who is she talking to? And she said, you need to come back here and listen to what I have to say. And at that point, I was like, okay, fully like in shock mode, like, whoa. Inside of me, I was like, that's my girl. But again, I know that in some cultures, that girl would be in big trouble. Like if she was in Nigeria, she would be in big trouble. Interestingly, and yeah, she's my one child that desperately wants to go live in Nigeria. But I cannot take the risk of taking her there for the same reasons, because she is outspoken. She's expressive. She will call you out. So if you're doing that whole thing of, oh yeah, this is who we are, and then you're doing the opposite, she'll call you out. And parents, that's the very first thing that I'd like to say. Our parents maybe make that mistake of not listening to us. They didn't really know us. And it wasn't because they were bad. Some of them had their issues. My mom had to operate as a single mother for the most part. We know the kind of pressure that comes with. Everybody's looking up to you. It's pretty much like you're set up for failure when you are in that space. So what you know is you don't know how to play. Your number one priority is not connection. Your number one priority is these children have to be successful. I need to be successful as a mother in this, because of what life has dealt me. So that's that. We need to listen. Then two, our parents make the mistake of, again, dumbing us down, being dismissive, and not wanting to hear correction. In this age, in this time, regardless of where we are all over the world, please, let's be comfortable with having our children speak the truth to us. We'll go to church. We're okay with pastor telling us, that's the truth. That's the Bible. Yes, but our children also have some truth in them that they want to share with us. Or even if it's not true, at least they have that connection. I always say, in our generation, I know a lot of people that the only way you can make the mother-father-child relationship make sense to them is to say, I hear you. Let's use Ebon as a hypothetical example. I'll say, I hear you, Ebon. I know that you're generous, so you can give money to beggars on the streets. Can we just look at your mom and your dad as beggars in this case? That's the only way we can make it make sense for them to take care of their parents. In our children's generation, I'm sorry to say this, it might be hard to hear. I don't mean to trigger you, but as the children in this generation will not understand that. They would ask questions. Why were you not there for me? What were you looking at when I was going through this? When this person did this to me and that person did to me, how did you fight for me? So it's no longer going to be business as usual. While you were talking, I was actually looking at my shelf. I'll see if I can find it. There's a book. The title of the book is How Children Raise Parents. So it's not only parents that are raising children. My child, this same one, so you can tell what her personality is like. One day I said, you know what, I need my privacy. Can you just go out? She walked to the door and came back and said, oh, seriously, mommy? You need your privacy? She said, did you think about that before having kids? Then why did you have us? And of course, because she's at that age where she would say things the way it is in her heart. Of course, there's some redirection, but again, there's some truth in those things. Because that's where it starts. I can't attend to you now. Just go and watch TV, go and be on your phone and all of that. They just want to be heard. Our kids want to be heard. Our kids want to be seen. When we're raising kids as they grow older too, I hear a lot of people say, you need to know how to cook so that you can be a good wife. You need to know how to clean. No, marriage is not to be all and do all. And that's why a lot of people get into marriage messed up and they have unrealistic expectations. if you don't keep your space clean, right? Even mentally, from a mental standpoint, if your space is scattered, everything is cluttered and all of that, your mind would also be the same way. So you would not be able to function at the best mental capacity. So we can tell our kids that I want you to keep your space tidy so that when you come into your room at the end of the day, your room is already so clean. You have the sense of calmness that comes in there. Then you can think better. Then you can produce better ideas. Then you can, you know what you always say about changing the world? Then you are in a better position to be able to do that versus teaching them everything is about how to go and be a good wife, how to go and be a good wife. And then they get there. And at the end of the day, again, identity. For a lot of women who are married today, if you strip the misses from them and
Who are
mommy
they?
part, there's nothing. Who are we when all of those roles are lifted from us? Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you. Wow. Thank you very much, Aima. Guys, I can't see emojis. I can't see any comments in the chat session. Is this really worth your time? Because if it is, I should be hearing comments in the chat session. And thank you, Ayokweju. Ayokweju said, thank you so much, Aima. Good or bad requires many things. Yeah, it requires a lot of things, a lot of spectrum, according to Aima, a lot of spectrum fields are involved in this. And that's why we are where we are. Can be the context, can be the upbringing. You know, we say something in the practitioner sector, in the practitioner field, that who you are today is as a result of the upbringing, the significant emotional experiences you had growing up, and the environment where you grew up from. And these three areas has formed who you are, the way you think, the way you are raising your children, because that's the only thing you know. And you see, Aima said something that we're not trying to vilify our parents, because they did the best that they know based on the level of information they had. And I think it was Mo that said, for us to, at this present generation, if we choose to fail because we want to keep using the old curriculum, then it will be on our neck. If you notice these children, I work in that space. We all work in that space of family. In fact, right now, women, I see ladies who don't want to get married because they are saying, I can't go through what my mom went through. Because they are saying, no, how? And I see young boys, young men, age 30, 31, who are also not willing to get married because they are saying, if she does not have her own home, her own house, and she has a good job, then there's no point. I don't want to go that line, because some ladies are not well raised and have caused trouble in their marriages, leaving the children to say, no, if all women are going to be like my mom, then I better not go in that direction, right? So we can't afford to fail. We are not saying our parents failed, but we're in the global world now. We're exposed to all this information. And that is where the secret is, because our children are seeing, they have something to compare. When we were growing, we didn't have anything to compare the method of parenting our parents were using. We had nothing, only your neighbor, and they are also doing the same thing, right? But these children are seeing, they read. I think it was more that said they can even ask ChatGPT questions right now. And so they have a lot of information coming in for them. So if you keep at the training they gave you at Ileoluji, or in that environment that you grew up, and you say you want to use it, and that was what I mean, that you can't continue to use the same curriculum because the curriculum has changed. And at this point, I want to say that there are new rules of parenting, and for the Praise Forward International, we have courses in that area. And admin, I need you to drop the link to the new rules of parenting class, right? So that if you are interested in understanding the new rules, because the rules have changed. I tell you, it's not prayer thing, no. We are praying for them. God bless you for praying. It's not about the prayers. They need to see. Children learn by observing. And so, Ima, I see you raising your hand.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
please.
just wanted to say two things really quickly for
Yeah.
to be fully transparent. There are a lot of marriages that are a lot of homes that are pretty dysfunctional. It will look different, for everyone. But please, parents, if you're having issues in your marriage, please, 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 please don't drag your children into it. It breaks your children in ways that you have no words for. Learn to work on your marriage. And if you cannot work on it, leave the kids out of the whole. They already have so much to deal with. These girls are starting their periods at age. It's happening earlier now, 9, 10, 11. Their hormones are all over the place. And then having to see an immature mommy dealing with an immature daddy and parents who have no emotional intelligence, it weighs on them heavily. Then the pressure that we need that we put on them, you have to be this, you are the one that your brother is looking at, especially if you're the firstborn child, it's just too much. And at the end of the day, they start to stuff things down. Then they start to be quiet. Then they start to look for love out there. Daddies, I understand it. You are the man of the house. A good number of daddies are the lion of the tribes of their families. If he rocks your boat, that's okay. But again, think about that child. Think about these children. They have feelings, right? It's okay. You are the first boyfriend of your daughter. Daddies, you are the first boyfriend of your daughter. Validate the hell out of them. If you go out there and see girls who naturally, not the ones who worked on themselves to build good self-esteem, who naturally have solid self-esteem, go and check their relationships with their fathers. Solid. Daddy will tell them you're beautiful. So there is nothing that any guy outside of there will dangle in their eyes that will make them jump at it. There's a high level of what? Premarital sex, unwanted pregnancies, and everything. Yeah, there are a lot of issues there, but some of it are just linked to the fact that most of these girls don't have love. They don't experience love at home, so they look for it out there. Final thing, I'm sorry, is let's respect our children's boundaries. Please, parents, please. We know you give birth to them. We know they sucked your breasts. I don't know who else's breast our children will suck, if not us anyway. But they're humans too. So if they tell you, can we talk about this? Respect that. If they say no, respect that. One of my daughter, I noticed that every time I bought her clothes, and by the way, I didn't jump on the train of understanding, these kids, really early, right? So I also had to learn. So I would go to the store and I'll see something nice, be like, oh, this looks like it will look cute. I'll buy it for her. But I noticed she wasn't wearing them. And she'll say, oh, thank you, mommy. And then she would keep them. By the end of the season, where I'm doing my cleaning out for, like, okay, clothes that you have outgrown, this girl brings a lot of new clothes with their tags on for me. And I'm like, so one day when I started getting into understanding and all of that, I said, can we talk? And she said, I said, why don't you wear this? Because she said, because I don't like them. They're not really my style. I said, but why can't you tell me? She said, because I'm thinking, I don't want you to get upset. And that's the thing. So they're looking at us because some of us are so high-handed and everything. Why? Because we're using our parents' manuals. Let's listen to them. And I told her from that day, I said, no, don't feel the need to accept what you do not like. It's okay to say no politely. So these days, if I give her something, I just even go, do you like that? She goes, no, thank you. So let us respect our children's no's. Let us respect their boundaries. That's how you build their confidence. Let us focus also more on building and raising them as girls and women of value rather than people who have to go out there, who have to just pretty much just suck up to the whims and caprices of other people, especially men. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ima. That's so deep. Wow. How do I unpack this? This is so deep. And guys, I hope we are listening. I don't have to repeat what she had said, right? But we need to, she said something. Be your children's friends. Don't be the lion of the tribe of Judah in your household. Be their friends. That is one way I think I have seen people who relate well with their children. Be their friends. Listen to them. Tell them to teach you the dance that is raining. Ask them questions about what's going on TikTok. Oh, I heard, for those of you that have children who already are on TikTok and all that, ask them questions. That's how you know what they are scrolling, what they are watching on their phones. Very, very important, because if you don't do that, you're pushing them out and they're going to seek this support from people who don't understand the values that you're trying to inculcate into them. And the area of the clothes, I'm sorry it took me 20 years to understand my daughter in that way, because I just discovered that I'll buy things and he's there. It is just there. And she will say, Mommy, that is the style that you like. It's not the style that I want. You think you are buying clothes for the 8 years old, 10 years old in your head. You can't do that for me now, because I say, okay, I'm so sorry. Can we start all over again? Don't be ashamed to say, oh, you're sorry, because they are growing. They are growing. You are growing, they are growing. They have their own minds to reason and to think too. And this will take me to this next question. And I'm going to ask more. And the question is, after understanding the mistakes, you have also talked about the emotional challenges and all that. For parents who didn't grow up with emotional support, how can they heal and still raise emotionally stable children? What are the things we need to do as parents? Because the truth of the matter is, this information is new. We all grew up with a particular way. We are all learning now. Our children we gave birth to them into this age. So it's easier for them to just roll. But some of us need to learn. For example, you need to learn the features on your phones. Otherwise, it will just be phone call, text message, and WhatsApp. But some of us had to be learning all these things. And in learning all this, we also need to learn how to be emotionally stable. So how do you think parents can handle this? And for the audience, please, if you have questions. Okay, Ayokweju said she wants to ask question. Okay, so after I more response to this question, Ayokweju, you will ask. And please, guys, you have the opportunity to ask questions after this next response. All right, Coach Mo.
Okay, becoming emotional stable, like emotionally aware, like I had said, when we were talking about the fact that you need to provide emotional support for your children, is that you unlearn and learn. Healing has to take place. There's one word that we do not usually talk about very often, and which is forgiveness. And we need to start by forgiving ourselves. Forgiving ourselves for whatever shortcomings we may perceive that we have, and then begin to seek the knowledge that we need to help us become emotionally intelligent. Every day would bring crisis. Every day, even to your child. You may do so well handling your child, taking care of your child in any culture. The child will go out. That will be a point of crisis. As long as you have more than two persons or more staying together, there will be conflict because of the differences in each person. But you as a parent who is living with your child has to understand that there will be conflicts between you and your child. Again, I mentioned that once a child gets to the adolescent stage, which is something I began to understand years back when my children first entered into the teenage age. At first, I didn't understand it. I just wondered why they suddenly were acting differently until I began to learn that this is the stage they're in now. And in learning the stage your child is at the moment, you are beginning to see the child for who they are. So seeing the child for who they are is very, very important. Seeing yourself for who you are. So you understand your triggers, you understand the things that upset you, you understand the things that make you happy, and then you begin to navigate your parenting with an understanding that these are the things I need to work on if I am going to be a good parent to this adolescent or to this girl or to this young adult who is a girl. Yeah. And then girls go through, have more emotional or instabilities. Instabilities, that's the word I would use, because of the hormones that they, the changes in hormones that they go through when they enter into puberty. So if we understand that, we are able to say, okay, what do I need to learn to help this young girl go through what she needs to go through? It is important to know that this is how, to understand that generations change. We live in different worlds, and we can only do as much as we know in that time. Our parents could only do what they knew in their own time. Now we are in the digital age. It's a new world. What can we do now? How do we get to understand where our children fit from in the digital space? We need to get in there as well. What's happening with the girls? They would leave the house. For example, my son is not with me. Yeah. So, but he would have to live with other people, wouldn't he? My girl would also have to live with other people. So how do we now, as parents, begin to see this child for who they are and see ourselves for who we are, and then help walk the journey together while managing the conflict that will be there? So we learn, we unlearn, and we relearn every day. Forgiveness is a major part of it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mo. Thank you so much. Aima, do you have anything to add to this question? Talking about healing, parents getting healing.
Yeah, I think Coach Mo has covered a great deal of that. It's just to know that, again, we're not perfect. And with parenting, even it's one thing that has been constant with parenting from the days of our parents and their parents and parents till today. And we don't know, maybe in future, kids will start coming with manuals on how to raise them. But up until now, there are really no manuals. So we're all just trying to figure this out with, knowledge and information that we all have. The only thing that I'll add is to what Coach Mo has said is that whole the need to understand that some of the behaviors or the things that we see with these kids, maybe especially girls, are not their expected behavior. When a child becomes an adolescent, there are some things that is expected. That's part of kind of like how you understand the developmental milestone. So I feel like some of us parents are very quick to categorize it as bad behavior. They just want to hang out with their friends. I don't know. Friends will not kill you. They will destroy your life. It's just normal at that time, right? That they gravitate more towards their peers than the parents. They're also trying to move and gravitate towards that level of achieving their own independence, which they need, which they really need. They really need it. So, two things when I think about parenting, two things, parents, because at the end of the day, the bulk of this whole thing, how our girls turn out, who they eventually become, the bulk of it, not all of it, rests on us. At least the foundation is two things: roots and wings. Let's give them roots. That speaks to a solid foundation. And then
Yeah.
let's also think we have to give them wings to fly. We can't be with them all our lives. No matter how much you love your children, we need to know that our lives are limited. One day, someday, we would not be there in their lives. So we want to make sure that we have poured into them, most importantly, values for great living rather than what society says they should be or they should look like. And we need to stop thinking about our children, and also for girls and women. You are not a self-improvement project. So to keep comparing yourself with someone, I have to do better in this, I have to do better than this. Coach, this person said, therapist, this person said, pastor, this said. You are not a self-improvement project. You are you're a woman who has evolving needs, and you are evolving too. So let's think progress and growth rather than perfection with our lives. But most importantly, if you ask me, it's good that we have parents that want to pay school fees, and all of that. But I've seen parents also who pay school fees and the kids come back messed up because there is no connection between them and their parents.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you. Thank you so much, Coach Mo and Ima. You are not self-improvement projects. We are evolving. Coach Mo says forgiveness. And something that Ima said I was going to raise is this aspect of hiding under religion. We have to be careful because God gave us these children to nurture them. So we need to study them, watch them, know what works for them, understand how their emotions, when you were talking about the hormonal imbalance and all that these children go through, I'm here thinking, I didn't even understand it when my daughter was going through that. And I think one other thing that contributed to this was because I was also going through my own challenges. Like the time she was entering the adolescent age, as I got divorced, and all I did was just put her in the boarding house, so that I can have time for myself to process and so that I'm not exploding on her. You know how we try to dodge from some of those things. And now she's in her final year in the university, and we're like, okay, so how did we get here? How did we miss all these years, But I was paying attention, really, maybe not enough, maybe not as I would like to, but because I was also dealing with my own issues. Do you get? And this I understand for quite a number of parents who are on this call. And this is why we are saying that the admin has dropped the link to the new rules of parenting. In this class, you're going to understand different things. And please, admin, could you please drop numbers, the office number, if you need to talk to someone. We're talking about healing. It's not so easy. Coach Mo said, learn, unlearn, and relearn. We need to get some basic understanding that you now build on in learning, unlearning, and relearning. And that is where therapy comes in. You want to talk, you want to talk to a professional or something, please, admin, we drop the number. I need you to call, and you have one of our practitioners speak to you. And Ima said something about the age-appropriate behavior. It's just like you know how I've seen women, a 4-year-old spilling water, and the kind of slap they give to the child, 4 years old, carrying a cup of water. What do you expect? And these are the things, some behaviors, the behaviors that these children displayed, a lot of it are age appropriate. But because you're coming from a mindset of, oh, she's being rude, and when you are rude, it is bass blows, they give you anyhow. That's the way you were raised. You can't use that now. These children has information they can compare you with. And we don't want to lose our children. Like one of my nieces, even me, we know, all of us know that the mom can be overboard. Like she can be overboard. This girl, 10 years old, one day she looked at the mom and she said that, don't worry, mom. I know what to do. You will go to old people's home because I don't think I'll be able to deal. At 10, at age 10. And she's not outside the country. She's in Nigeria. Like, and nobody could say that to that woman. Like, she just came out to just say that, don't worry. She laughed at it. Everybody in the room laughed at it. But I took a step back to be like, what message is this girl passing across? You know, so our children are passing a lot of information, messages across. That's like the video I told you about, the interview I had over the weekend with the young girls. We're just pushing it aside, but they are dropping information. And so you need to heal from your pain so that you don't keep bleeding on your children. I see Ayokweju raising up her hand. Ayokweju, can you unmute and ask your question now? And if you have questions, please, you can unmute, raise your electronic hands, unmute and ask your question, or you drop the question in the chat session. Ayokweju.
Yes, please. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone, and thank you to the ladies for sharing. My question is about setting boundaries for children, listening to them. I agree absolutely with all that. But at what point do you introduce them to what the real world is likely to throw at them? For instance, when they get into school, depending on where they school, even when they don't school in Nigeria, they don't always have their boundaries respected. So at what point do you introduce them to emotional intelligence? So that's really the summary of my question. The other thing, this is just a comment. As parents, sometimes we do these things very afraid. All we're desperate to do is raise children who turn out well. So sometimes what we do is out of fear. And when we get to that point that we, take a deep breath and take it as a journey. On a journey, sometimes you make the wrong turn, but you always find your way back. When we get to that point, I think things will start to look up. But please, when do you introduce children to emotional intelligence and coping skills for the real world? Thank you.
Awesome. Aima, do you want to respond to that question? Then Coach Mo, you also, you're still muted, Aima.
I apologize for that. Yeah, so I'll let me try. So the question was coping skills for the real world. When do you introduce them to emotional regulation? And then how do we ensure that they have their boundaries respected? I think I will start from like the third question and then go back up. So when do you introduce them to emotional regulation? I would say as early as possible. And so don't overthink it, right? Let's think things as what's emotional regulation, being in control of your own emotions, right? So it's pretty much, and that speaks to boundaries as well. Boundaries are for you to protect you, it's not for the other person, right? So when I think emotional regulation and boundaries, I'll probably do the two at the same time. Say they go hand in hand. Emotional regulations for kids will start for maybe from when they can talk, or even when the words start forming. So that's when you hear parents say things like, use your words. What's going on? One will be being able to recognize the emotions, naming those emotions. And then for parents, we'll give them space to understand that it's okay. How are you feeling? You have to be able to name those emotions, right? I know that for us in maybe who grew up in places like Nigeria, everything is fine. How are you? Fine. Even when the person's mother just died and we're rolling on the floor, how are you? We're fine. So we we let them understand the various emotions that are there. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad, even though the Bible will say, oh, do you know, and whatever. But again, what we just do is we cherry pick, right? No, I cannot be anxious. You cannot. It's okay to be anxious, but then what do we do with it? So to answer your question specifically, ma'am, start as soon as they can talk. Encourage them to use their words. And that's how you build communication. Understanding and being able to display emotional regulation, being a good communicator is a big part of that. So turn whatever emotions you're feeling to being able to express. How are you feeling? Okay, can we come back to this later? I'm sad or I'm frustrated right now. I cannot continue with this conversation. Let's come back to it later. So I would say as soon as they can talk. But a big part of it also is you being able to regulate your own emotions. When mommy is angry, and the first thing is we take the omorogu and we are wiping people and everything, they are saying that you are not controlling your own emotions there. It's going to be hard for them to understand what that looks like. But when mommy is angry, you come back from work and everywhere is a mess, or you've assigned duties and nobody has done it, say it. I'm angry with you people right now. You know what? Give me 5 minutes for me to calm down, then we can come back to it. So that's one. Then teaching them, how do you prepare them for the real world? It's basically the same thing. Helping them understand that people in the real world will not cater to your emotions personally. I tell my kids, even as a therapist, see, the world does not revolve around you. It's hard to hear, but the more they understand it, because that's also how you build a resilience, starting from home. So model things to them, teach them how to lose at home, play games together. When you play games together, you will see, you will understand and know. And that's the thing, it comes back to knowing a child. I know which of my children is a sore loser. Like if she loses at a game, that's the end of the world. So what do? We play games and then we try to regulate and then teach, have teachable moments to say, I get it. Guess what? You played really good. But guess what? It's a game. And in life, you win, some will lose. And the fact that you lost this time doesn't mean that you keep losing. So it's the little things like, and that's why I started with don't overthink it. Just think about just everyday things and then apply it as you go. Then boundaries will be what they have to do with boundaries is to set the boundaries. It's pretty much like saying to people, this is how you would treat me. So if you signal to everybody that you're a doormat, guess what? Everybody rubs their feet all over you. But if you carry yourself with dignity and respect and say, okay, this is who I am, this is how you treat me, then naturally people will respect that over time. I don't know if that helps.
Oh, yeah, very well. Coach Mo, do you have anything to add to that response?
Yeah, I'm going to say something about boundaries, and I'm going to talk about it in terms of rules. A coach is not a therapist. A coach tends to look at the potential of each child and then helps to bring that potential out. And as a parent, that is what we should be doing. As parents, sorry, that's what we should be doing. Of course, you need help with that. You need people who are able to see beyond what you can and then help you guide your child in the way that it should go. Now, in coaching, in any game, there are rules of engagement. For the child to become who they are, there has to be rules. For you to even become autonomous in your game, for you to be so skilled in your game, you need to follow certain rules. Now, the rules are not to destroy you, but to help you. So when you're setting rules for your children, you're setting the rules that would help the child thrive. And more importantly, as adolescents, you want to get them involved in these rules because you want them to own it.
Yeah.
Now, when they begin to break what they owned, there should be consequences because in life, there are consequences to actions. and there are rewards for good actions. So we need to be able to, that's how we prepare our children for the real world. So we don't tell them, oh, it's fine all the time, it's fine. No, we need to agree that we said phones get dropped at a certain time, especially nowadays. We need to begin to adapt our boundaries based on what is needed for the child. If you think that the digital space is becoming a problem for your child, before it gets to the point of intervention, I think we should begin to look at reworking the boundaries. Okay, so at 10 p.m., everybody drops their phones. If you look at the world now, new boundaries are being set. For some, you can't take your phones to school anymore. Some countries are beginning to say you don't give phones to children before 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Before they're 16. That's a boundary being set, a new boundary being set because of more information, more data coming up based on the negative side of having the phone for too long. So when they begin to understand that, then you say, okay, I can give you an example. I will tell my children, if you need to use the phone, if you need to use your phone for this long, it has to be something productive. We need to learn to know when to have leisure and the difference between leisure and doom scrolling, where you just go on ahead and just keep scrolling. It happens to adults as well. So, but when you are able to guide the prefrontal cortex of the adolescent to understand that discipline is not against you, but for you, and they are involved in coming up with how this discipline works for them, for their success, and for the benefit of everyone involved, because they are part of a family, they're part of a home, then I believe that we begin to prepare them for the outside world.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And the bottom line and the basis of the response to the question raised by Ayokweju is that, yeah, we need to instill discipline. We need to teach emotional intelligence, but at the same time, parents, you need to be emotionally intelligent because they are watching you. The boundaries that Coach Mo just talked about, how that you don't use a phone and all that, you also need to do it. Let them see you do it. That way, that it becomes easier for you. I've seen children just like Ima's 7-year-old would say, no, you have to come back here and all that. I've seen children tell their parents, you will tell us not to be on, but you are always on the phone. You're not even looking at us. You're always on your phone. So you don't want that kind of instance where your children will be calling you out also. You have to lead by example. So thank you very much, Ima. Thank you, Coach Mo. Do we have other question? I see Ayokweju asking. She wants to know the details of what happened to the to Ima's daughter. Is it your daughter or your son now?
My daughter.
Do we have any other question? Do we have any other question in the house? Do we have any other questions? Admin, please drop the link. You want to, there are new rules to all these things, all these boundaries. Like Ima said, don't think it too much. There are structures, there are systems to it. And these are things you will learn under the new rules of parenting. And if you think you need healing and you need to work on your emotions, you might want to also call the number or click on the link that has been shared in the group. While we round up, Ima, what do you think our girls need to constantly hear? Our girls, we're rounding up now. What do you think our girls need to constantly hear from us?
You are enough. You are enough. And it's okay to be who you are. And more than we did yesterday, now we see you and we hear you and we love you. And you are enough just the way you are. You don't have to be anything else. You don't have to add anything to who you are. Just show up as your real, authentic self. Now we're committed to listening. We'll be here. We'll be here whenever you need us. You're enough.
We're committed to listening. How many of us want to be committed to listening to our children? I want to see in the chat session, how many of us, this is commitment. You want to be committed to listening to your children. We have 26 people in the room, and I want to see 26 eyes, or let me say 23 eyes. You want to be committed to listening to your children. You want to parent your children differently, because the world out there, it's a lot. The guest had said a lot of things about the confusion, the information overload, the things happening, the hormonal imbalance, and all those things that our children are going through. And how many of us at this point will want to, thank you for the eyes. Thank you so much for the eyes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. How many of us in the room, how many of you in the room feel for your children right now, especially your girl children? How many of you feel for them with this exposition? How many of you? I see Royal Marcel said, I do. Yes, please listen to it, please, and remember to share the link. It's going to be okay. So admin, please drop the YouTube, because this is being viewed on YouTube too. So can you please share the link so that people can watch again? Thank you, Ayokweju. I will listen, respect their perspective, but may not necessarily agree. You don't have to agree. That's where negotiation comes in. One other thing that you need to do is, one other thing you need to understand is you can always negotiate with your children. And these are the things you're going to learn in the new rules of parenting. Yeah, even the boys, not only the girls alone, not only the girls alone. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, the YouTube link has been dropped. Please remember to share with your friends, with your family. And I'm sure that you know that this has been a very robust conversation. This has been very impactful and educating. And if you agree, please let me see in the chat session that you agree. And while we are agreeing, what do you have to say to our guests? What do you have to say? What do you have to say to our guests? Are you really thanking them? Are you really appreciating them? Because I can see only Ayokweju dropping something. And at this point, I will ask that in case you want to have a conversation with these people, you want to reach out to them, because I told you they are practitioners, they are trained practitioners, and you want to have a conversation with them. Okay, I see Bukola Olaiwola's hand up. While they are dropping, please drop your details, your Instagram or your WhatsApp number, wherever you want them to reach out to you from. Please drop in the chat session. Coach Mo and Aima, please drop your handles so that they can reach out to you. Bukola Olaiwola, please unmute yourself and let's take your question or contribution.
No, it's not really a question. It was, well, not from me directly. It was from Ayokweju. I think she did ask to know how Aima or Hobby responded to her daughter when she said to her dad, "You don't walk away from me." It would just be nice to know, because it would be nice to, like, I think for me, it's a learning experience to actually know how to respond back and not kind of shut down the child. So I think it would be nice for Aima to please respond to that. Thank you.
All right. So Aima, do you want to share?
Okay. It was actually a call out. Let me start by saying that really quick. It was actually a call out because I think that would be a testament to the fact that our children hear us maybe sometimes more than they listen. Like they watch us, and the things that we do. You see, the same line that she used for her dad is a line that I use when I'm talking to her older siblings and they're walking away sometimes. And, somebody is walking. I'm like, no, 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 no. Same thing. No, 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 no. The no was 4 times. Same thing. No, 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 no. You don't get to walk away from me when I'm talking to you. You need to come back here and listen to what I have to say. Same thing. And that was what she used for her dad, first off. Then, secondly, how it ended, her dad actually came back. And like I said, I held my breath, like, okay, what is he going to do? Her dad is a man, born, raised, brought out, bred, everything in Nigeria. He's a
My
Yoruba
brother.
man. He is an Ibadan man, so, but, he actually came back and listened and he said, okay, I'm here. I'm ready to listen to you. And she said all she wanted to say. And then, that was how it ended. Yeah. And it was also a learning moment for me as well, and maybe one that I was really proud of because it also told me something about the child. I don't think any man would take that girl and play with her. Why? Because if she can tell her dad, you don't treat me a certain way, I don't think that child will have any problems telling any man, you can't treat me a certain way. You have to listen to me. I'm a person of value. I'm a person of worth. You have to give me that time and that attention. You need to listen to what I have to say.
Thank you very much, Aima, for sharing. And I think what I'm going to add to that is because we are their parents, does not mean we should be rude to them. Does not mean we should treat them anyhow. Yeah. Because this bullying we are talking about, we as parents, a lot of times we bully our children.
Mm-hmm.
And you say, because I am your mother, because I am your father, excuse me. That does not mean we should be rude. That does not mean we should not treat them with respect.
Mm-hmm.
We need to treat our children with respect. And I will come from this perspective and that's why I said, if you want to talk, call that number. There's this presupposition about life that nothing means anything except the meaning you give to it. What that girl did, well, we might want to, because of our mentality, because of our mindset, we might see it as, oh, she was being rude. But inside her, she does not mean to be rude. She just does not want you to walk. So what meaning are we reading to what these children are saying more than what they are saying?
Mm-hmm.
When my daughter was growing up, there are times she would do something and I would say, oh, you're telling me to keep short. I should be like, Mommy, when did I say that? No, I didn't say that. And really innocently. But you know how our parents raised us. For those of you that are Yoruba, oh, Niki Benuson.
Mm-hmm.
Did you actually say Mommy should Benuson? Are you telling them to keep short? Did you say that? No, you didn't mean it that way. You were just doing it the way you feel. But we read meanings to it. So please, parents, nothing means anything. And see, the meaning you give to it, the perception with which you interpret whatever they are saying, the perspective you give to it will determine how that situation will be handled. So another perspective is to come back to say, oh, really? So you're telling me to come back? Okay, madam, what do you have to say? But the African one will say, are you for real? You're so rude. Yeah. Please, which one gives peace? Even you give you peace and respect to your children or to your child. So all these things, we do some of these things and that's why I need you to watch that interview that I said I had with these children. They say we project our fears, we project our anger, we project our bitterness, we project it on them. And they don't really mean it. A lot of times they don't mean, but we give meaning to it because of where we are coming from, because of the conditioning, because of the way we were conditioned, because of the way we were brought up. We read meaning to it. Mommy, stop it. You said, yeah, but bear, and you just beat the child. But, just I think, see, the way we react, when somebody was talking about choices and consequences, we also have made a lot of choices that some of the consequences we are getting, the reaction we are getting from our children are based on some of the choices we have made with them when they were growing up, when we were raising them until whatever age they are now. Yeah, Coach Mo, I see your hand up. Coach Mo? Yeah, I see your hand. I see your electronic hand up. Do you want to say something?
I would like to say that, yeah, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can
I
hear
would
you.
like to, based on what you were saying, something just came to mind, and it's about creating your own family values. And parents should be able to communicate how they want to be honored, and children should be able to communicate how they want to be honored as well. So we should both be able to give honor to each other, but come together to agree. Sometimes I feel it's a case of, like you said, where you were raised, where each person was raised. But when you come together to say you want to now have a path, an agreed path to how each party wants to be honored, and you come to an agreement that we are going to keep to it, and we are going to also have give grace when one person does not do it, then I believe the values would keep each one in check, and the values should also be laced with grace. And finally, I would want to say to parents that help your children know, help your adolescent girls know, help your girls, whether they're young adults or they're young or they're babies or toddlers, whatever state they're in, know that they are valuable. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your last word. I was going to ask that what notes do you want to take your leave on this show? And Ima, do you have your last word? What do you have to say to us in the house before we round up? Thank you very much, guys. You're muted.
I just want to say, whether as parents or mothers or women generally, girls, let's give grace to each other. Let's give grace to each other. And a lot of us do a good job of giving and showing grace to other people. But let it start from you giving grace to yourself. You are not a sum total of your bad experiences or whatever. And even if you had bad experiences, you can write a different story. I understand what the past is. The past leaves a lot of things in its wake. It leaves pain. It will leave trauma, but it also leaves lessons. And with those lessons, we can hold on to those lessons and write a different story. So I'd like you to just stay encouraged. Keep showing up as you. Don't change who you are. Don't try to bend the rules for whatever or whoever is in your life. If it's not serving you, it's okay to walk away from it. It's okay to say no to things or people or situations that no longer serve you. And I pray that you find peace and you find healing as we go on in life. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ima. Thank you, Ima and Mo, for this beautiful session. And thank you very much, my beautiful audience. What do you say to the guest? What do you say to the guest of this show? The guest, thank you so much, everyone. You are not the sum total of your experience, and so you can heal from them. You can learn, unlearn, and relearn. You can live a peaceful life. A lot of us are we're so full of baggages that are overwhelming us, that is making us react the way we don't want to. A lot of us, we shock ourselves in some ways we react to the home, and at the end of it, you'll now be apologizing, or you will not know how to say I'm sorry, and you will just be coming with your style to say, hey, just come come and scratch my back for me. You know, all those things. Let's be bold enough to apologize to our children, because they have their own minds. Thank you very much. And as we close, I want to remind every parent watching, our daughters are watching how we live, not just what we say. The way we speak to them, the way we manage our emotions, and the way we carry our pain. All of it is teaching them something. So let's raise our girls from a healed place, not a wounded place. And just like we have said, we can heal from our pain. We can't continue to do things the same way and expect a different result. We can't continue to bleed on these children and expect them to be whole. So let's be intentional about giving our girls what many of us never had: emotional safety, validation, and the freedom to find their voice. Remember, the girl you're raising could be the woman on the front line of tomorrow's change. Let's equip her, let's equip them with love, wisdom, and courage. And thank you very much, everyone. And with this, we come to the end of the October edition of the family meeting. The admin, please, could you drop the links again so that people can reach out? And at this point, I would also love to say that the family meeting, this show, we need sponsorship. Praise Forward talked about it last week. We need sponsorship. And so if you want to give to this cause, you want to support us, like I mentioned at the beginning, we go to schools during Children's Day to speak with the children, International Day of the Boy Child, International Day of the Girl Child, to speak with the children. We go to community to speak with parents, people on how to live together as one. The admin will also drop the account number. Please, we look forward to your support. And please, if you know of anyone who can give us grants, please reach out to the number. Admin, I'm waiting for you to drop the account details and the admin, the office number, the front desk number. Thank you very much. And also the link to the YouTube. Do we have the admin in the room? So thank you very much, everyone. Aima, thank you so much. I had a beautiful time with you. Coach Mo, it's nice meeting you once again. And thank you for the intelligence and contribution you have given during this show. Thank you very much, Sholeye. Thank you very much, Bukola. Thank you, Norma. Thank you, Ore Love. Pastor Dr. Yemisi, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Beatrice Masade, thank you so much for joining. Hey, Olaguju, Olushola Onofujabi, thank you so much. Boomi Network, Damola Aboaba, thank you so much. Thank you, Ogugbenro, Ifi, Ofuche, Oluwatoyi Stephanie, Oladayo Awe. I appreciate you. Like I always say, there's no family meeting without you guys. I look forward to having you. In the month of November, we're going to be talking about the men. We're going to be focusing on the men. We're going to have guest people that will open up, men that are going to be vulnerable with us. Please keep the dates. The last Saturday in the month of November, we're going to be celebrating the International Men's Month. Yeah, November is for the men. And so come, ladies, come and do Tatafo, come and do Amebo, come and hear them, come and hear them talk. We're going to be teaching emotional things about the men. Thank you very much, everyone. Flo Royal, Ify, Diana, I love you all. Thank you so much. The account details has been dropped, and the link, phone number, the link to the YouTube replay. Please, if you know that the session was impactful, please follow the YouTube page and share the link with your family, friends, and loved ones. Thank Thank you very much. Admin, can we dance? And happy International Day of the Girl Child. We are all girls, even though we are
Yes.
mommies now. We are all
Mhm.
girls. And please, this evening, I want you to hug all the girl child in your home. All your children, all your female children, hug them and show them some love. Thank you very